All right, y'all. Continuing our discussion this week, common challenges for new managers. And so today we're taking a look at items 2 and 3. And now these items are distilled from a combination of lists that I reviewed over the last week or so. So really, there's a lot of items out there, but this is kind of the 5 key points. And so today, 2 and 3. Number 2, handling accountability. You're the manager, you're the leader now. The buck stops with you, so there's some pressure that comes with this. And number 3 is establishing credibility. And there's a lot of relation between these two. So handling accountability. How do we get more comfortable with the pressure of management and leadership? Well, a couple simple ways to really ease your burden. Number 1, good time management and effective prioritization. We've talked about this stuff repeatedly. So once again, I will advise you, go back. The Covey time management matrix. Start there, use that as a jumping off point for how you are going to manage your time, how you're going to prioritize. Discuss upward and downward. Talk with your team. What are the obstacles currently in the way? How are we doing on our deadlines? What do we need as a team? Report back upwards. Hey, here's where we are. Are the priorities still aligned? How are we doing? You know, what's coming up down the road that we need to be aware of, that my team needs to be aware of. Good upward and downward communication. Pair that with time management and prioritization, and you're going to be a long way towards releasing some of that pressure of, boy, it's on me now to deliver these results. Similarly, delegate. You need to be free to manage. If you're not delegating, if you're backsliding into your old role because it's more comfortable, great. Once again, now the team is leaderless and the buck stops with you. So failure to delegate, always wandering off into the weeds, that's going to be a big problem. Go back to the time management matrix. There's an entire segment that covers delegation. Micromanaging. So failure is part of learning. And as a new manager, creating a new culture on the team, as a new leader, bringing a new leadership style, you're gonna have to be okay with some early failure. Use it as a learning opportunity. How is the team going to function? You may be instituting some changes. That's not gonna happen overnight, and there may be some resistance. So, do not micromanage. Allow people some liberty to deliver those outcomes on time. You can help this by effectively managing your time and communicating those priorities. Finally, my way or the highway management. And this kind of ties in with number 3, establishing your credibility. Fight the urge to come in and just create ultimatums and lay down the law. I am now the boss. We shall be doing this. Really ties in with micromanagement, but you're not going to endear yourself to your team by coming in and leaning on your title and just laying down the law. People don't follow titles, they follow leaders. Leaders who lead by example specifically. How do I know that titles do not confer credibility? Well, go back to our leadership series. I was a 28-year-old chief of staff, and for about the first 4 months I was working, I had a nickname, unbeknownst to me, of Surfer Boy. I was the chief of staff, but I was 28. I had to establish my credibility by getting into the office and doing the job. Whether or not those judgments and whether or not the nickname of Surfer Boy really was appropriate, that's the reality. People don't follow titles, they follow leaders. You've got to get in there and you've got to show that you can do the job and you can do it effectively. And work with the team, not just issue ultimatums and directives. That is going to eventually just erode any good culture that you've worked to build. And any innovation, any good communication, upward and downward, is gonna start to fall by the wayside because your team is just gonna come to the conclusion that you're gonna micromanage. You're not gonna delegate. You're not gonna allow us the input. You're gonna just come down and issue the directive. And so they really won't contribute as much. They're just gonna wait for you to tell them what to do. And then, what have you done to that team? Any culture of innovation, any culture of, good, open discussion and dialogue to identify blind spots and to mitigate risks on the front end. A lot of that's going to disappear. And you're going to open yourself up to those cognitive biases and heuristics we talked about last week. My way or the highway opens you up to overconfidence. You don't allow the team to have any input, you're largely going to just create a groupthink mentality. And as we talked about, if number 2 is handling accountability, leverage the resources of your team. Spread that accountability out. Did you discuss all this? Yes, we did. We hashed it out as a team. We made the decision. We moved forward together. We accept the consequences together. But as the leader, ultimately it comes down to you. And my last point for establishing credibility: deflect credit, accept blame. It's your team. So give credit where credit is due. Shift the credit away from yourself. Shift it onto those team members who really, in this particular instance, performed above and beyond in some way. And then accepting blame. Do not point the finger at teammates. Once in a while, maybe somebody screws up big time. But again, get comfortable with failure. Use it as a learning opportunity. Expect it so that it becomes part of your time management and it becomes woven into that deadline. So that's 2 and 3. Handling accountability, establishing your credibility. Lots of parallels between the two. So we'll see you tomorrow. Items 4 and 5 close out the list. Until then, thank you as always for your time. Have a great rest of your day.